Alright, so what we want to talk about today is cancer. So in 1971, Richard Nixon came out and declared war on cancer. And since then, we actually haven't done better, we've done worse. In fact, if you had cancer in 1920, you have the same survival rate as you do today. So the only thing that's changed since 1920 is the amount of people who have cancer. In fact, 1 in 2 men are supposed to get cancer in the United States, 1 in 3 women. That's how abundant it's become. So what I'm going to do in these videos is video number 1, I'm going to tell people what cancer actually is. That's what we want to go over, so you really understand what cancer is, so you can start understanding how to make these changes in your body. Number 2, we're going to go over the different stages of cancer, and this is the old model of what cancer is. In the next video, we're going to talk about the difference between a healthy cell and a cancer cell. And then we're going to go over a new theory that a lot of scientists are starting to adapt that makes more sense as far as what cancer is. Because let's be serious, let's be honest here, the old theory isn't really making sense. The old theory, and you'll understand this when we go through this, but what's happening right now is more and more people are getting sick. More and more people are dying from this every single day. So obviously we need to change something. This new theory, it's actually, to me, it makes a lot more sense. And then finally, we're going to teach you how to be bulletproof from cancer. When you understand what cancer is, it's easy to understand what changes to make in your life and what's going on today, why cancer is going through the roof. So let's start here. In order to understand cancer, we have to understand what's inside the cell. So inside the cell, there's a nucleus, and inside that is something called DNA. This is my little DNA strand here. So what I'm going to do is take this DNA, I'm going to untwist it, and break it apart, and this is what it looks like. Hopefully you can understand that. So what DNA really is, it's a blueprint on how to make something called proteins. If you look at something, all the physical structures you're looking at are proteins. So the way your body works is this. In this DNA, you have these little stripes. These are called base pairs. And you have about 3 billion of them in each cell, a whole bunch of them. And what your body does is it groups a couple of them together. So let's say from here to here, these 3. Those 3 together are instructions on how to make a protein. Okay? So the grouping of that is what we call a gene. So your genes are grouping. So you may have one gene that's from here to here, another gene that's from here all the way down here, a big gene, and then maybe one from here to here, okay? And here's the thing, you may have a gene, let's say, for brown eyes, right? Okay, this might be the protein right here on how to make that brown eyes. Here's the funny part though, every single cell of your body has the same exact DNA. So my eye cell and my heart cell have the same exact DNA to them, same genes. So why do they look so different? Right? Here's the reason why. Most of the genes are always covered. You have proteins that literally kind of block them, cover them up. And if they're covered, your gene is turned off. In fact, you have about 30,000 genes in each cell. Most of them are covered up. You can't see them. So let me give you that example with the brown eyes. My heart has the same DNA for brown eyes, but obviously my heart doesn't express that, right? Here's the reason why. Let's say this is the gene for brown eyes. In my heart, it's covered up. In my eye, this protein will get instructions to move out of the way and open up so the body can express that. So just because you have the gene for something doesn't mean you're going to express it. Let me give you another analogy. It's kind of like this. If this is my DNA and I write brown eyes on there, instructions on how to make brown eyes, well, the protein is like the sleeve. My sleeve can cover it. And when it's covered, no one can see it. The body's not going to make it. But if it opens up, now it's ready to be made. Okay? The reason I want to present this is because, yeah, a lot of the big thing going around today is that your genes dictate if you have cancer or not. Not necessarily true. In fact, according to Bruce Lipton, who's a cell biologist, he said only about 2 to 5% of all people with disease can blame it on genes. Most people, this is the case. You may have a gene right here for cancer, but hopefully your body closes that up. The key is understanding what opens these, what closes these. What opens these are either molecules or things that we're consuming or things coming into our body, or number two, energetic messages. So messages from the brain coming down the spinal cord out to the nerves to the cells literally would tell the cell what to open up and what to close, okay? So that's step one. So now, I want you to understand what has to happen in order for cancer to occur. So the first thing that has to happen is something called a mutation. A mutation, very simply put, is this. So these little rungs are instructions on how to make a certain protein. What a mutation is this. Let's say I eat something like a genetically modified food, which is literally like a tomato plant and an Arctic fish put together. Right? Weird things that you would never put together in nature are put together at a DNA level. So what happens is your body absorbs that, and you get really, really strange combinations of base pairs that you're absorbing, or weird amino acids they're called. So what happens is this. Instead of building your own DNA out of these regular blocks, it gets replaced with these things you're putting in your body. This is what a mutation is. Instead of, your body wants to replicate these strands perfectly, but it doesn't have the resources to do that. So what ends up happening is it gets replaced with this nasty stuff. Okay? Here's the beauty of that. Your body naturally has an ability. It goes through there, it reads your DNA strands always. So it'll pick up any mutations, and usually the body will get rid of those and replace them again with the normal instructions. That's in a normal, healthy body. So in order for cancer to take place, the first thing that has to happen is the mutation. And then number two, the DNA repair system of your body isn't working. Okay? Now, there's a really cool blood test you can take. It's called serum thiol levels. You can get a serum thiol. Let me write that out so you can see it. Thiol. Okay, serum thiol level test. It can actually tell you how well your DNA is repairing indirectly. So you can know if your body's in that state or not, okay? And then we can go over what are some things that can increase serum thiol in your body. So, step one, mutation. Step two, the body doesn't repair it for some reason. Step three is this. Every single cell of your body has a gene. Let's say it's this gene right here. Inside of it, that if it becomes damaged, it'll commit suicide. So this cell should understand that it's diseased, and it should kill itself. But for some reason, in a cancer cell, that mechanism is broken. So, cell suicide problem. The cell is not killing itself, okay? Here's the last thing. You finally have a cancer cell, a cell that's kind of running rogue. What should your body do? What do you think all the other cells or the rest of the body will do if it finds this one cell that wants to kind of do its own thing? What it's going to do is this. It's going to create your immune response to kill and destroy that cancer cell and get rid of it out of your system. So when somebody has cancer, what happens is they have a decreased immune system, meaning these cells are popping, there's mutations, the body's not fixing it, the cell's not committing suicide, and your immune system is so shot, it's not attacking those cancer cells. So decreased immune system. That's the issue right now, okay? So when this happens, this is how you create a cancer cell. All of these things have to go wrong in your body. We have so many mechanisms to kind of block this and to heal from it. For some reason, with a cancer cell, these are the steps that take place, okay? All four of these steps together is something called initiation. It's the first stage of cancer. This is initiation. Initiation means this. You created a cancer cell. Okay? The next phase is this. Initiation will lead to promotion. And the way to look at promotion is like this. It's like you planted a seed in the ground, right? What happens if you don't give it what it needs? If you don't give it water, if you don't give it sunlight, is that seed going to grow? Absolutely not. It's going to die. Well, the same goes with that cancer cell. You created that cancer cell. Now the next stage is if you give them things in your promotion stage, or you promote its growth. So you give the cancer what it needs to grow and survive, okay? And the final stage is this. Something called progression. That's the stage where your body actually starts to make a tumor as a result of that. So step 1 is initiation. You created a cancer cell. Step 2, you give it what it needs, the nutrients, the conditions it needs that it likes, and it starts to double and triple in size. And then progression, where it finally creates a full-blown tumor. After that, that's when you get stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, all those things that you're talking about cancer. Initiation. So this is how you create the cancer cell. What do you think causes mutations inside these cells? Number 1, genetically modified foods, like we talked about. You're going to put in not the nutrients you actually need to build these up again, so your body's not going to know what to do. It's going to replace its base pairs with this foreign stuff you're putting in. Okay. Also, any carcinogens. Cigarettes have 40 carcinogens in them. Some people say UV light. What about the stuff you put on your skin to block that? Sunscreen. Tons of chemicals inside sunscreen, makeup. As soon as you walk outside, essentially, whatever you do, there's carcinogens all over the place, things causing mutations to your body. My point is this. A lot of times we focus on the initiation phase. We worry so much about what causes mutations in our DNA. But you're never going to get rid of them all. They're too numerous to count. Okay? What we're better off doing is focusing on the promotion phase, what promotes cancer growth. Most common things, first of all, is going to be different hormones. So for example, insulin. Insulin's been shown, if you have very, very high insulin levels, it produces something called a growth factor. It'll actually cause these cells to divide more and more rapidly. Another thing is obesity has been promoted, okay? And again, a lot of this comes back to sugar. Cancer cells love sugar. When you eat more sugar, you get obese, okay? So that's also a side effect, but also, don't forget, when you become obese, you also release estrogen. High estrogen levels have been found with breast cancer time and time again. So cancer cells like estrogen, they like cortisol, the stress hormone, they like inflammation, acidic conditions, they like insulin. All of these things are what's promoting. It's creating a body that's promoting. So if you look at the average American, we eat tons of sugar. We're very stressed out all the time. Cancer cells hate oxygen. Most of us don't exercise or breathe deep enough to get oxygen into our system. So as an American, what we're doing is we're promoting cancer time and time again. Okay? So hopefully you understand what happens at a DNA level to create cancer at first, and then second, the initiation, promotion, progression stage. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you start focusing on this promotion, that's the key to this. So in the next visit, or the next video, what we're going to do is talk about healthy cell versus cancer cell, this new theory, but more importantly, being bulletproof. And just to give you a hint, it has a lot to do with understanding this promotion aspect of it.